Well, hello everyone, and welcome back to another Can-Am Spyder video. So as you can see behind me, I've got the Spyder sitting in the driveway. For those of you that follow along with the channel, you will know that we bought this Spyder back in the fall of 2021. So we're now in July of 2022. So we have got, I think, just over 8,500 kilometers on the Spyder. So I thought I would do something a little different today and show you the controls of a Spyder from the rider's perspective. This is not a tutorial on how to drive or use it, but it's just I want to show you what the controls are like, what they do purely from the rider's perspective. So we've got all these buttons and knobs to deal with, and I'm going to go through them section by section and just give you a rundown on how they all work. So that's what we're doing today, guys. Thanks again for following along with me, and I hope you enjoy the video. For those of you from the motorcycle world, the first thing you'll notice on the handlebars is that the clutch is missing and there's no front brake control. Spyders are semi-automatic. We use this paddle shifting system for upshifting, and the bike will downshift on its own. From my experience, it's around 1750 RPM. It will downshift to the next lowest gear, or you can actually downshift. There's a button on the other side of that will downshift. So if you need to pass and you want to drop down to the next lowest gear, you can just click that. The bike will downshift and off you go. On the other side, the no front brake handle is explained by the fact that all three wheels are operated by a brake pedal by your right foot. And that's the way the Spyder system works on all bikes. I don't think they ever had a front brake handle separately. I did see one video that I watched where a guy actually specifically asked it, and they put a front brake handle on for him. So this first cluster of buttons over here, we'll start from the top and work our way down. So this top button here is for putting the bike into reverse. So what you do is you hold that button down and then you pull the downshift button back, and that will put the bike into reverse. And then when you want to go back into first gear, you just click that. All shifting on the Spyder from neutral to first gear or reverse to first gear is all done with the brake pedal depressed. This button right here, high beams, regular running low beams, and high beam flash. Turn signals, left and right, push straight into cancel. I think that's fairly standard. The bike will also automatically cancel the turn signals. So after you do a turn, like a 90-degree turn, when the bike straightens out, it'll automatically cancel the flashers. Below that, we have the horn, nice and loud. This is just a volume control for the audio system. I haven't used the audio system hardly at all on the bike, if any. It's just not something that I'm into. It is a little bit too bad because the bike has a pretty robust audio system on it. It's got 6 speakers, 4 in the front and 2 on the back case, but it's just not something that we use. This joystick button I'll get into in more depth of what happens there when we're talking about the screen system up here. Parking brake, it has an electric parking brake, just simply on and off. This is called the mode button. So you have to press the mode button before the bike will start. So after you turn the key on here, so it's key on, you hit the mode button, and that will allow the bike to start, then you can start it up. The other function of the mode button is when you're riding, you can press that button and it puts the bike into eco mode. Eco mode is a little green insignia that comes up on the screen. So far, the only thing I think it does, there's a little upshift indicator that comes on that encourages you to shift to the next highest gear. It doesn't seem to have any effect on the performance of the bike. It doesn't cap anything. I haven't noticed any riding differences between eco mode and regular mode, other than the fact that it encourages you to upshift to the next highest gear at a certain point. The ignition key. The ignition key is chipped to the bike. There's a chip actually inside the top of it there that is keyed right to this bike. So it'll only start with that key in, or the other key that we have for the bike when it's in there. Basically, it turns the bike on and off. Other functions of this key, if you push it in and turn it, it will unlock the front storage compartment, or if you push it in and turn it this way, it unlocks the driver's seat. And that's where the fuel filler cap is, underneath the driver's seat. The other thing that this does, if you turn the handlebars all the way to one side and turn the key, it locks the handlebars in that position. It also locks your glove box as well, because you can't open it with the handlebar in the way. So this is what you would do if you were storing the bike at night and you were concerned, you wanted to have it locked. And then we just turn it like that, and then the handlebars can be put back around straight. This area right here, this is the windshield control button. So windshield up, windshield down. I have found, in my experience, I'm a fairly tall person. I like to have the windshield all the way up, purely from the wind noise reduction perspective, and but you can adjust it wherever you want. When you turn the bike on, the windshield will return to the last position it was set in. Grip heaters, high and low, and these are for the driver grips. Works really well. I have used this a lot lately. We've had some cool weather, so it's been important. Driver's seat heater, high and low. This blank area right here is for auxiliary lighting that you can get as an option. I think it's fog lights you can get installed, and that would be the place where that will be controlled from. And this area is all the controls for the audio system. Source, volume up, volume down, skip ahead, skip back, pause, play, and whether you want the audio to come from the speakers or you want it directed to your helmet headset. Again, as I mentioned before, I haven't used the audio that much, so I just know what these controls are for. I haven't got much experience with their use. On this side of the handlebars, we have the four-way flashers. Works just like a car. Press it on, they come on. Press it again, they go off. This is just the kill switch. I think all motorcycles have those. This is the cruise control, so that is the off position. This is the on position. When you reach your desired speed, you push it down, and that sets the cruise control. If you have to go back to that speed, you push it up, and that's resume. The only thing I'd like to see here is a cancel button. The only way to cancel the cruise control is to actually turn it off, so you would lose your previously selected speed. But the other way you do it is to tap the brake pedal, or if you shift gears, it'll also cancel the cruise control. And this little button, I think, is pretty similar to motorcycles. That is the start button. So I'm just going to go through the startup procedure. So key on. We have to press the mode button, put our foot on the brake, which I'm holding down right now, and then the bike starts up. And last but not least, the throttle is on this side. The passenger also has some controls. These two controls right here control their heated grips. So that's the grips low and high, and that heats these areas right here. And they also have a seat warmer as well, high and low. And on the other side, they have another set of controls. If they want to control the audio, they can go volume up, volume down, and they can skip tracks if they want, if they're listening to audio. There is ways that you can stream audio directly to the helmet headsets, and I would imagine this controls the volume. Again, we're not big users of the audio thing in the Spyder. This is the display screen on the Spyder. So it's kind of in its basic mode right now. So on the left-hand side, right here, we have fuel, temperature. The number in the middle is the distance remaining on the fuel based on a calculation that the bike does. This is the trip A meter, and I'll show you how that gets changed in a while. Outside temperature, clock, the current position or gear you're in. On this side we have speed right there, and on the other side we have RPM, and then there's a kind of a sweeping thing that goes up there and it shows you the RPM. On the far right side, this is the area of the screen that is controlled by the joystick I was telling you about. So if you push that joystick in the middle, it gets you into the menu basically. First thing I'll show you is the launch statistics / trip function. So if you push the joystick to the right, it brings you into this screen. And here we can see our trip, how long we've been running on that tank. You can see your instantaneous fuel consumption, your average fuel consumption since it was reset, your maximum speed that you attained during this session, and your average speed. And you can push that across and it changed it to the B trip. So if you want to reset your A or B trip, you just push that joystick down and hold it, and it sets it back to 0. And then the last tab is the total distance for the bike. So as you can see, we've got 8,526 kilometers on the bike, and it shows you your average fuel economy, maximum speeds, and average speeds. So if you want to go back to home base, you just press the button in the middle and the home flashes, and then you just push it to the left, and it takes you back to the home screen. The home screen is basically just, as you can see over here, is pretty much just for audio. And you can do volume up, volume down, skip ahead, whatever you want on that screen. So that's the basics of the screen. If you press the home button again, you can then toggle your way up to where you can connect your helmet, you can connect your phone, you can control your music, set your FM stations up, Bluetooth audio, etc., etc. And this is where you would go in to set up your bike for metric versus imperial, and you can customize the way the display looks and the colors and all that sort of stuff. But I just run it pretty much at default. So the last thing I want to talk about as regards to this screen is on this side, if you have your phone connected and you have the BRP Go app installed, this whole side of the screen, and it actually takes the tack away and it creates a square screen there, turns into a place where you can have apps, navigation apps and various other types of apps. All of the apps that are available for BRP Go, like for navigation, etc., are all, you have to pay for them. There's annual fees for them, etc., etc. I know a lot of people will probably disagree with me on this, but I don't see why BRP doesn't get hooked up with Apple CarPlay or Android Auto to populate this side of the screen. But they've decided to go that route, so I guess they know what they're doing. For me, I stick my phone in my RAM mount, and I do all my nav with Google Maps or Apple Maps, and we get along just fine. My phone is already hooked up to my communications headset that Leslie and I use, our Cardo, and I can hear the nav commands when I'm in areas where I'm not familiar just fine. So I cannot give you any real feedback on how good or how bad that BRP Go app is, because I haven't really investigated it. If I do decide to, I will maybe do a video on that later, but at this point in time, I'm not using it. I'm pretty happy with just having my phone up on the RAM mount, and I use it for what functions I need it for. Well, folks, I think that's going to wrap up another Can-Am Spyder video. Just a quick one. I always like to kind of mix the videos up a little bit. I don't want just to be all riding videos. If I've got something that I want to show you about the Spyder, I'd like to show it. So this was a kind of an overview of all the buttons and knobs and the screens on the Spyder. And I hope you found it enjoyable. I hope you might have found it informative. And as always, thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.